Okay, good afternoon and welcome back everyone to our options education webinar series. My name is Tony Zhang. I'm the Chief Strategist here at OptionsPlay. And today we have a very special webinar for you on how to utilize the OptionsPlay platform. I want to give you guys a walkthrough. Today we're not here to discuss specific option strategies. It's more of an overview to give you a sense for the full platform so that you can see what's available to you on the tool. That's part of this new partnership between OptionsPlay and NASDAQ to bring Nordic investors tools and resources to help you learn and ultimately trade options. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. Before I do, what I'm discussing here today is purely for demonstration purposes. It is not a solicitation or recommendation to buy or sell any specific securities. So what I want to do is I want to go through a few different slides today first before we jump over to the platform, just to give you an overview of the different tools and resources that NASDAQ and OptionsPlay have built together to help you learn and explore the world of options trading. So at the core of it is access to the OptionsPlay platform. Now, this is a tool that's being made available free of charge, and you can sign up using this link at the bottom of your screen if you have not already signed up for the OptionsPlay tool. And I just sent everyone a link to that tool in the chat window, so that if you haven't signed up for it, you can go ahead and sign up using that link in the chat window. You can bring up your chat at the bottom of your screen. And as part of this free tool, you get access to bi-weekly options education webinars. For those of you that have already registered for those, you might have attended one that we hosted last night. And you have access to a full options video library. So every time we do an educational event, every time we record a video, we make those available to you free of charge in the video library. So I'll show you here in a few slides how to access that library. And lastly, once we show you the platform, in addition to that, what you get with your free subscription or free access to OptionsPlay is weekly cover call and short put reports. Now, for those of you that are relatively new to options, options are primarily used by most investors to help them generate income. And that's what cover calls and short puts are. They're strategies to allow you to generate income on your strategy. So what we do is we produce reports every single Monday and email them out to you. And I'll show that to you also in a few minutes. So let's go ahead and get started. Now, just a reminder, I am in Stockholm this upcoming Tuesday, December 10th. We are doing an event at the NASDAQ building from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. Me and 3 other participants will speak a little bit around options, the different resources that are available to you, and then really just provide you guys with a forum to build a community with each other and ask us questions regarding any options related topics that you might have. So I hope to see those of you there that are local to Stockholm on Tuesday, December 10th. It is a completely free event to register, and I'll post that link in the chat window as well for those of you that have the ability to stop by on Tuesday. I would love to meet you guys and come by and say hello. So I'm going to go through a few different things, but I'm going to keep it really light on the slides. I want to spend most of my time on the actual platform, showing you the platform. So I'll do a quick introduction of the NASDAQ and OptionsPlay platform. I want to talk a little bit about the ongoing options education that you will receive if you register for a free OptionsPlay account, just to give you a sense for what topics are coming up next, what is the schedule, because we are dedicated to ongoing education. For those of you that are learning how to trade options, it's not something you can do from a single webinar. It takes time to go through a series of educational topics before you can actually start trading options on your own. So we here at OptionsPlay and NASDAQ are really dedicated to making sure that you have access to that ongoing education so that you can eventually feel comfortable enough to start executing these strategies in your own account. And like I said, I'll walk you through the cover call and short put reports as well as the options video library before jumping into the OptionsPlay tool and showing you a platform walkthrough. So talking a little bit about the NASDAQ and OptionsPlay partnership, this really started very recently in November 2019. At the core of this is providing free options play. Options play is a tool that I'll show you here in a few minutes, but free access to options play is the core of this partnership to bring all Nordic investors access to revolutionary tools to help you explore, analyze, and ultimately trade options. But we understand as part of that, you need to learn about the strategies in order to deploy them. So now we offer options education webinars. They are every 2 weeks. We're actually doing more in the very beginning so that you guys can get a little bit more education. And then every other week, we're going to come back and do options education. I believe on Tuesday nights, every other Tuesday, we'll come back and do options education so that you have access to continuing education. An options video library has already been made available to everyone. So what I'll do is I will share with everyone the link, if you don't already have access to it, of how to access the existing video library, so that if you missed a webinar, you can always go to that library and take a look. We post things pretty much the day of, if not the day after the actual event, so that you have access to all the education. Again, we have live events like the one I'm doing on Tuesday in Stockholm. I hope to see many of you there. Weekly cover call reports. And I think most importantly, the best part of what we're doing is helping build a community of Nordic options traders. So part of this, doing the live event is so that you guys can meet each other. These webinars so that you guys can talk to each other as well. And really build a community of traders so that you can exchange ideas, exchange thoughts, perhaps even education amongst each other, so that you can build a foundation and community of users who are using the same types of strategies as you are. So let's go ahead and get started. So the webinars, like I said, it's every other Tuesday. We do them at 5:30 p.m. Central European time. Now, what's great about these webinars are they are all recorded, and we make the presentation slides available to download afterwards as well. This way, you can take the time and review them at your own pace. You can review them with the slides, and you have access to the tools that we're showing you how to trade these types of strategies. So really the best of both worlds from my perspective, to be able to have access to the education, but also the tools that we teach with are available to you free of charge. So as you can see, we have some topics upcoming in December. Enhancing your portfolio with options. That is a great webinar for those of you that are looking to generate income. I talk about what are the best practices for generating income, how can you maximize yield on your portfolio, utilizing options to generate income, and the tools and the resources that are available to you to help you execute those strategies. December 18th, I'm actually going to do another platform walkthrough because the platform is big and there's a lot of things that are involved. So it's always good to do a refresher on what's available on the actual platform. So I'm going to come back on December 18th to do another one. January 8th, we're doing another one, generating income with options. This one will cover a slightly broader category of income generating strategies, not just tied to your portfolio. And then on January 22nd and February 5th, we start getting into buying options, how to utilize options to take a directional view on the markets. Whether you're bullish or bearish on the markets, how can you take that bullish or bearish view, apply leverage to it, but do it so in a way with limited risk. And lastly, if you're trying to hedge your entire portfolio against perhaps a market downturn, how do you use put options to help you hedge a portfolio? So we always start off with selling options for income. That's usually where we start, learning those types of strategies before we graduate onto more of the buying option strategies that are a bit more speculative in nature. So again, for those of you that have not signed up for the webinar series yet, I just posted a link into the chat window for you to sign up for the options education webinars. Now, you just have to register once. That's the great thing about these webinars, is you don't have to register every other week. You can register once and we'll send you a reminder email of the next upcoming one a day before and then 1 hour before the actual event, so that you have that link available to you in your inbox. Now, just by a raise of hands, how many of you are already registered to the webinar series, or how many of you have attended one of these webinar series? If you could just pull up your chat window and please type yes if you've already registered for a webinar, or if you've already attended a previous webinar, please just type yes into the chat window at the bottom of your screen. Okay, perfect. I see quite a few yeses already. Perfect, great. I'm really glad to see you guys are signing up for this education, and I really hope to see some of you there on Tuesday in Stockholm. Now, this report on cover calls and cash secured puts may be a little bit more relevant after our next webinar, which is on Thursday. And it's on Thursday because we have the event on Tuesday. This report will give you a list of all the optimized cover calls and cash secured puts. And we deliver this to you every single Monday at 12 p.m. Central European time. We're going to cover all optionable Nordic stocks and ETFs in this report, and it gives you a sense for where do you get the most yield out of all the stocks in the Nordics or ETFs in the Nordics that you can sell cover calls or cash secured puts for income. So I'm gonna dive into this report a little bit more on our webinar next Thursday, where we're going to discuss specifically how to generate income on the stocks in your portfolio, because that's what cover calls and cash secured puts are for. And lastly, our options video library. So this is something that maybe for those of you that are on the webinars, you may not have seen yet. We've created a page where all the options education video that we record are available to you free of charge to watch whenever you'd like. So we cover beginner and advanced topics. We talk about strategy-based sections. It's really designed to help you learn how to trade options. We have short videos. We have longer format videos. We have videos in English, videos in Swedish, really a lot of different things. And we also announce all of our upcoming events. So the event on Stockholm and Tuesday is, to register is on that page. All the upcoming webinar topics are on that page and how to register. So I highly recommend for those of you that are interested in learning how to trade options to bookmark that page and visit that page whenever you feel that you need to learn more or want a refresher on any of the topics that we discuss. And that video library is just going to continue to grow and grow as we continue to build more and more content. As I said, this is a brand new partnership. We are just in the process of getting started with getting more and more content for you guys. So over the next few months, you're going to see that video library grow at a very fast pace so that you can come back and have more education for you guys. So with that, let's jump into OptionsPlay, because that's what we're here for. OptionsPlay is the tool that you have access to free of charge. I'll make this a little larger so everyone can see on your screen. Now, we created OptionsPlay to try to make options trading as simple and as easy as possible. And we did this because as traders ourselves, we found ourselves spending a lot of time doing manual work on the same thing over and over again in terms of picking a strategy, picking an expiration date, picking a strike price, even though we were following the same steps every single time. So we wanted to find a way to help automate our workflow as traders ourselves. And we found ourselves doing a lot of back of the envelope calculations. We were roughly estimating, if I had bought this call, how much money would I make if the stock went up 10%? How much money would I lose if the stock went down 10%? We would have estimations in our head, but it wasn't exact. So and it was difficult to compare one call against another call. So that's why we created OptionsPlay, because we needed a tool for ourselves as traders. And after building it, a lot of users said that they thought they could use it as well. And that's when we decided to start this company to help everyone better understand how to utilize options in their portfolio, regardless of what your views are, whether you're bullish, whether you're bearish, whether you're not interested in trading at all and you just want to generate income. We've created a tool that allows anyone to type in any stock, put in any outlook and get a sense for where to start and give you the analytics to make sure that you are making the right trade for you. And more importantly, hopefully helping you avoid some bad trades that may not be very obvious if you're just looking at an options chain. So the platform itself, when you log in, is divided into 3 sections. We have trade ideas and watch list here on the left-hand side of your screen. In the middle is our security analysis panel. And on the right-hand side, we have trading and income. Now, the 3 panels, we call it the what, the why, and the how of options trading. Because when you log in every morning, you want to know what symbols should I pay attention to. That's when we have fresh trade ideas and bullish and bearish trade ideas, and you can sort and filter amongst a bunch of different filters to let you filter down to what you're looking for. You can create a watch list, or we have pre-built watch lists for you as well. We have Nordic watch lists that have large cap stocks across the 3 regions. And then we have Danish, Finnish, and Swedish derivatives if you want to focus on a specific country. And many of you live in a specific country. You probably might trade predominantly, the stocks in that country, so you can easily filter based on that country. And we have a whole watch list of all the optionable symbols within that country. And for any symbol that you type in or click on, it'll bring up the rest of the screen. Now, this is designed to give you a very quick sense for what's currently going on with the stock. So we have a 1-month and 6-month trend that will show you the short and long-term trend of a stock. And you actually not only see the current trend, you actually see how that trend has changed over time. So on H&M here, as you can see, right here around the October 31st, that's when the 1-month trend started to turn neutral. And by November 5th, the 1-month trend has started to turn bearish. And then by November 8th, things have really started to turn around and things started to move significantly lower. But throughout this whole time, the 6-month trend was neutral. So it wasn't super bearish. And recently, the 1-month trend returned back to a bullish trend. So this gives you a sense for not only what the current trend is, but how it's changed over time. The second thing we have is a technical score. A technical score is a relative strength indicator telling you how strong a stock is compared to all the other stocks in the market. So H&M is a relatively strong stock in the market because, as you can see, it's had a very nice year up. It's up almost 100%, close to 100% on the year. I mean, that's why it has a very strong technical score. Most stocks are not up 100%. And you can actually sort your watch list by this score so that you can see what are some of the strongest stocks in the market, like BALD, ATCO, EVO, versus really weak stocks in the market like Swedbank, SEB, KIND, Nokia. These are weak stocks. As you can see, if I pull up a chart, I think you'll see how different the chart is. Look at this. Over the last year, this stock has lost almost 50%. That's why it's got a score of 1, and the 1-month and 6-month trends are bearish. So this is telling me that everything is quite bearish on this particular stock. And we really built the watch list and the charting to be in sync with each other so that you can actually get a sense for where a stock is trading without even pulling up a chart. So I can pull up a chart and look at SECUB, Securitas AB, and know that it's a weak stock, but it's no longer trending any lower just based on the color and the score. So as you can see here, yes, this is a relatively weak stock. It's really basically moved sideways this whole year, but it's been on a pretty recent bullish trend since November, mid-October or so. It's been trending higher. The trend has deteriorated a little bit recently on the short term, but on the long term, it's still trending slightly higher. So you can utilize this in many different ways, and I will have a separate webinar just on utilizing the technical indicators of this platform to help you find directional edge and help you find trading strategies. But that's just a very quick overview of the trade ideas and watch lists, and the security analysis panel. Now, the also very important things to know are things like the earnings date, the dividends, and the price action data that are at the bottom of your screen. This is what we utilize to give us a better sense for when we're picking expiration dates and strike prices on expiration dates on a strategy. We want to know if there's earnings before that expiration date. So it's important to take a look at the earnings date whenever you're trading options that you may not be as sensitive to when you're buying or selling a stock. Now, once you have a directional view on this, once you have a directional view on the underlying stock, there are two options that you have. You can either select I'm bullish and see 3 bullish strategies on this stock. So here's Electrolux. In this particular case, it's a relatively strong stock. The 1 month and 6 month trend is bullish. It just turned bullish a couple of days ago. This is a fresh, in my opinion, a fresh signal to look at perhaps a continuation higher here. So I'm going to select I'm bullish, and it will always display to you these 3 strategies for a bullish view. You can buy 100 shares of the stock, you can buy a call option, or for those of you that are a little bit more advanced, buying a call spread. Now, these 3 strategies represent what most retail traders would utilize to take a directional view on an underlying stock. And the most important piece is not only do we pick the strategies for you, we have also picked the expiration date and the strike price. Now, we've picked these expiration dates and strike prices because the tool itself, we will discuss why we pick these specific expiration dates and strike prices during some of our webinars on these specific topics, but we always pick an at-the-money 45-day option because of the way time decay works and the way that you want to have a decent amount of leverage with a limited amounts of risk. We tend to find that at-the-money 45-day call options are a good starting point. That's not to say it's the best option for you, but it's a good starting point if you're looking at a whole option chain and you're not sure which expiration date and strike price to start from. And on the call spread, what we're doing is we're still buying the same at-the-money call option that expires in 45 days, but at the same time, we've sold a much higher call against it, and that collects a little bit of premium. And what it does is it reduces the risk of the trade. So you're taking the same bullish trade, but instead of risking 1,100 crowns, you're only risking 985 crowns, which will go to offset your capital requirements that get into the trade. It'll reduce your risk. And because you have a short call leg, it actually reduces the time decay as well. So if you're not familiar with the call vertical strategy, that's okay. I will have a whole education section just on that strategy alone, but the tool is designed to allow you to take any 3 strategies and compare them side by side. So we use our P&L simulator to help you do that because you might have an outlook on the stock. So Electrolux B, let's say I believe this stock is going to rally back up to its 52-week high, around 267, 268. So I can plug that outlook into the P&L simulator based on where I think it'll go, by what date, and it will calculate for me approximately how much that option will be worth if the stock rises to 268 by January 9th. If I bought the stock, I'm looking at a little over 5% return. If I bought a call option, I'm looking at a 64% return. And if I'm looking at a call spread, I'm looking at a 70% return. And that's what this roughly 100 crown reduction in risk and cost equates to, is an extra 6% return on the same stock or in the same trade, while risking less money than just buying that call, and certainly risking far less than buying the stock. Now, this P&L simulator is designed to allow anyone to plug in any outlook and get a sense for which strategy provides them with the best risk to reward. And more importantly, what if I'm wrong? What if Electrolux falls back to its 238 low here, where it just traded a few weeks ago, and understanding your risk as well? I think it's so important for an options investor to more importantly, I think it's more important to know what your risk is on a trade than how much you can potentially make, because your risk is what determines whether or not you have enough money to continue trading tomorrow. If you lose all the money in your account, and it doesn't matter how much reward there is on that or how much potential reward there is, if you lose everything, you can't trade anymore. So it's so important to manage your risk and understanding that if the stock declined to 238, you're risking $1,600 on the stock, 1,067 on the call, 952 crowns on the call spread. So notice how the strategy here on the right-hand side has the least amount of risk. Now, this tool, again, is designed to really allow anyone to type in any symbol and get a sense for very quickly either a bullish or bearish view and see 3 bullish or bearish strategies, plug in your outlook on the stock and see how they would perform, whether it'll lose money or it'll make money. Sometimes you might be surprised that even if the stock goes in the direction you expect it to, let's say Electrolux does go higher, but it only goes up to 260. It doesn't go all the way up to 268. Sometimes users might be surprised to see that you actually lose money on a call option even though the stock went higher. And that's really the purpose of using the P&L simulator, is because when you look at a call option, you just many times assume that if the stock goes in my favor, I'm going to make money because I bought a call. Calls make money if the stock goes up. But that's one of the things that we need to learn, is that it doesn't just make money if it goes up. It has to go up by a certain amount. And the P&L simulator helps you understand how far the stock needs to go in order for your call option to be profitable. So if the stock rises to 260 by the expiration date, as you can see, you actually lose 100 crowns on the call option. You make 15 crowns on the call spread. Both of these, I think, would be pretty useless, if you will, if you thought the stock was going to go up to just 260, meaning you have to believe the stock is going to move higher than that before these two strategies make sense. Otherwise, you're just better off buying the stock. And that's really the goal of the P&L simulator, is to help you understand how these strategies perform, when they perform, so that you can be prepared for it before you get into a trade, how far the stock needs to move in order for you to be profitable. Now, you're not limited to just these 3 strategies. Many times, for those of you that are a bit more advanced, you might want to trade other strategies. You can always modify them, and you can change the expiration dates, you can change the strike prices, you can add legs to it if you'd like. You can do lots of different things to construct whatever strategy you can possibly come up with and see how each strategy compares side by side. But for those of you that are looking to trade specific strategies, we have what's called a strategy constructor. You can click on the strategy constructor. You can choose whether you're bullish, bearish, neutral, or sharp move, or you can look at all the available strategies, and you can construct more complex strategies. So if you want to sell a credit spread, you want to trade a synthetic stock, you want to look at diagonals or ratios, these are all available to you by the click of a mouse. You can click on it and start modifying these strike prices to however you'd like and see how they perform. You can flip a strategy, you can move all the strikes up 1, down 1 just by the click of a mouse. This is all designed to make your options exploration as easy as possible. And you can reset the legs always if you want to get yourself back to the original strategy. So really, we call this options play to really allow you to play around with each strategy, change the strike prices, change the expiration dates, do whatever you'd like with it and modify each strategy and compare any 3 strategies side by side using our P&L simulator. And you can start off either saying I'm bullish or I'm bearish as your starting template for any stock or ETF that you type in. So let's go back to H&M. Let's say I'm bullish on H&M, or, well, we already looked at one bullish strategy. Let's take a look at a bearish strategy. Let's say I'm bearish on H&M. Maybe I feel that even though this stock has a very strong stock, it's declined quite a bit since that, from that 200 down to 170, 180 or so. It's rallied back up. Now I think the stock may be heading back down to 178. So what can you do? You can short 100 shares of that stock. I would never recommend users to do that because of the fact that when you short a stock, you truly have unlimited risk. When you have the power of options and you can take these types of directional strategies with limited risk, I'd always advocate that you consider looking at buying a put option instead, because a put option gives you the same downside to the stock with limited amounts of risk. And even better, a put spread that takes you even further a directional view with a smaller amount of risk. So let's say I believe H&M is going to decline back down to around 180 or so. If I had shorted the stock, I'm looking about almost a 6% return, a put, a 57% return, a put spread, a 96% return. So here I'm buying a 195 put, which is the at the money put, January 17th, which is roughly a month and a half away. Buying the same 95 put, but instead of just buying a 195 put, which gives me downside all the way to zero. If you ask yourself, do I think H&M is going to zero by January 17th, which is a month and a half away? Probably the answer is no. So why should you pay for all that downside? And that's really what a put vertical does, is it buys you downside, but only up to a certain amount. And since you're only taking downside to a certain amount, it reduces your costs, it reduces your risk of the trade. So as you can see, for the same move to the downside, because I've invested significantly less capital to get into the trade, what that does is it boosts my returns from 57% to 96% for the same trade. And that's why as a trader, if you're new to options trading, this is the strategy that you want to eventually learn to get to. As an equity investor, you would short the stock. As a simple options or a beginner options trader, you'd buy a put. As a slightly more advanced options trader, you would look at buying a put spread. Now, most platforms will give you a breakdown of a strategy that looks like this: the cost of the trade, the max reward, the max risk, the probability of profit. These numbers are at best confusing, and worse, it's difficult to compare because you have this put option that gives you a max reward of 18,000 crowns if the stock goes to zero. But how do you compare that to a spread that makes you only 1,200 crowns if the stock goes down to 175? You're not really comparing apples to apples here. So that's why we created the OptionsPlay score. We look at the potential reward of a trade and compare it to the potential risk of that trade. And the OptionsPlay score does not have a directional bias. It doesn't assume the markets will go down or higher. It assumes that there's an equal probability of either one happening, and just looking at the probability of you making money versus the probability of you losing money and how much you'd actually make, and giving you a sense for the risk to reward of a trade. So really designed from the ground up to give you a better sense for the risk of your trade before you get into that trade. Now, once you've found a trade that you would like to execute, that's where you can click on the trade button, and we will actually show you how to enter this trade into your broker's platform. So you can actually see all the action items that you need to enter into your platform. Even for more complex trades, we will show you both legs. So then we will show you how to enter this as a single strategy. And the goal here is that whenever you're trading these multi-leg options, you want to enter them as a single strategy. You don't want to enter these as two separate trades. You want to enter them as one single trade. And we even have what's called a strategy checklist. This is designed to give you a sense for the different metrics or different risks you should be aware of before you execute a trade like this. We want you to understand whether you're trading with the trend or against the trend of the stock, whether you're trading against the trend of the market. The OptionsPlay score, which is the risk metric that I just spoke to you about. We also check to see if there are earnings between now and the expiration date of your strategy. In this particular case, there isn't. And we also look at the bid-ask spread to get a sense for liquidity as well. Because when you're trading options, options are not as liquid as the stock. So it's important to look at how big the size of this spread is to determine how liquid an option is. And we look at the size of that spread. The wider the spread, the less liquid something is. The narrower that spread, the more liquid something is. So those are all the things that we check for. So next time you're going to execute an options trade, You always want to take a look at the strategy checklist and make sure that you enter this trade appropriately into your platform. So that's a very quick overview of how to utilize options play if you have a bullish or bearish view on an underlying stock. But many of you may not necessarily have a strong directional view on a stock that you're owning and you're just holding on to it for a while. Many of you may be buy and hold investors. You might have certain stocks that you've owned for a long time, and you want to learn how to generate income. And that's where the income tab of the options play tool comes into play. The income tab takes a very similar approach to the trading tab by showing you strategies that make sense. And we've also picked expiration dates and strike prices for you. And what it does is it will ask you, do you own shares of H&M? If you do, it will show you the cover call strategy, because that is the strategy that makes sense if you own H&M stock, is to sell cover calls against your stock and be able to generate income as you to generate yield on your stock. So here, what it's telling me to do is to sell the February 21st, 205 cover calls. So H&M pays a semi-annual dividend of 4.85 crowns, an annual dividend of 9.7 roughly. And as you can see here, this will generate 435 crowns in income for every 100 shares in just 77 days. So this annualizes out to about 10.7% on the yield that you get on a cover call from the stock that you own versus only 5.1% on the dividend yield. So if you add the dividends that you receive on H&M plus if you were to sell cover calls throughout the whole year, your total yield in H&M would jump up to about 15%, almost 16%. This is the type of income that most users are seeking when they're selling cover calls on the stock that they own, because some stocks you might get a nice dividend like H&M, 5%. That's a pretty nice dividend. There are other stocks that you might get zero dividends on. And that's really where cover calls can come into play to help give you some yield on those assets that you own that you're currently not getting paid any dividends for. Vice versa, if you're looking to buy H&M, meaning if you don't own the stock right now, but you want to buy some H&M, now you can consider selling a put option. A put option, similarly like the call, obligates you to buy the stock instead of selling the stock at a lower price. So a cover call obligates you to sell your stock at a higher price. So when the stock rallies up to 205, you can sell your stock, take profit on it. But while you wait for that to happen, you get paid 435 crowns roughly every 77 days or so. But if you're looking to buy the stock, you can place an order to buy the stock and wait for that stock to decline to that price. Now, you can modify this and you can use our income settings, which I will discuss in a few minutes, I will discuss on a future webinar how to utilize this tool to find other puts for you to sell. So let's say you want to buy H&M stock, and maybe you want to buy it at 180 crowns. So you might normally place a limit order at 180. Here, what you can do is you can sell a 180 put and get paid 95 crowns to do so, which if you get paid 95 crowns in just 21 days, that annualizes out to 8.6% yield on the cash that you need to buy the stock. So this is a way to monetize the cash that you need to buy the stocks that you want. So this is something that I'm going to discuss on the next webinar, are these two strategies, selling a cover call and selling a cash secured put. I'll go over them in more detail, but today I just want to introduce to you how to utilize this tool. Now, I've covered a lot of things, and at the end of the day, I still haven't covered everything in this platform. But I know that there are a lot of terms that sometimes you might not understand on this tool, and that's why we created a guide button here at the bottom so that you can click on the guide and hover your mouse over anything on the screen and understand a little bit more as to what you're seeing. So if you don't know what the technical score is, you can hover your mouse over there. Or if you're looking at trading, and you don't know what the options play score is, you can just move your mouse. And what we do is we really try to provide as much context as possible across everything on your screen so that you can get a sense for this type of strategy. Now, for those of you that are more comfortable in Swedish, you can also flip this whole platform into Swedish, and we can provide you with um, everything that you see on your screen in Swedish. You can even ask us questions and directly from the platform on the upper right-hand corner. You can easily flip between English and Swedish by clicking on the flag in the upper right-hand corner. But one of the best ways to ask questions whenever you come across one is to use this widget here on the top of your screen that says Questions, Ask Us. And it works in both English and Swedish. You can directly type your question into here, and it sends an email to us into our support ticket, and we can respond back to you by email. And lastly, for those of you that want to learn more, we have a link directly to our education page here by clicking on the Learn to Trade Options page. This will take you to our YouTube page, which will provide you with a list of all the recently made available educational videos and webinars that we've done. Here are available to you on this page, and you can access it directly from your platform by clicking on the Learn to Trade button here at the bottom. Now, like I said, there is a lot of functionality and tools that are in this particular platform. I tried to go over the broad uses of this platform, what you would likely come across, trade ideas, watch lists, how to read this thing on the middle of your screen, and then more importantly, how to utilize the trade tab so that you can modify each strategy, you can use the P&L simulator, and then eventually click the trade button to place that trade. Or if you're generating income, how to utilize that tool to find the optimal cover call or cash secured put. But like I said, there's a whole lot that I did not get a chance to cover in detail, but those are the things that I will explore on each one of our future webinars. So whenever we talk about income generating strategies, I will spend a lot more time on the income tool and explain to you all the details there. When we're talking about buying strategies like buying calls, buying debit spreads, I will spend more time on the trading tab. On the technical analysis webinars, I'll spend more time on the charts. So really, what we'll do is we will continue to come back here and show you more and more of this platform. But today, this was meant to give you guys an overview of the platform and give you a sense for how to utilize it as a general sense. So I look forward to seeing you guys on future webinars to show you more about this platform, and I hope to see you guys next Tuesday in Stockholm. So with that, I want to thank everyone for taking the time out this afternoon to view this webinar and take a look at what we have to offer. At this point, what I will do is I will open this up for Q&A. And what we'll do is we will take a look at individual questions here if you have any questions. So please type them into the chat window, and I will try to answer as many questions as I have time for here today.